Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Tipsy's F1 Podcast. This is our 8th ever episode, which I am excited to present to you. I am your host, Tipsy Pineapple, and we're getting the swing of things. Today, we are going to talk about the Saudi Arabia Grand Prix predictions, or the weekend predictions. I don't know. I haven't actually thought this out. I just feel really bad for not having recorded any other episodes between the end of Bahrain and now. It's been a good week and a half. I was planning to do some other content in between, but life just got busy. But that said, let's dive in. So, first off the bat with news, Ferrari is taking a penalty for Charles Leclerc. I think he's starting near the back. I don't know how many places his grid penalty is. I didn't really look into it. All I know is he is taking a penalty. I watched P1 with Matt and Tommy, and Matt had made some great grand predictions for Charles Leclerc to do well, and that was before the news had broken. So he made these predictions that I believe Charles is going to go well, and then Tommy was saying how every time you predict that Charles Leclerc is going to do really well, the season ends, or the weekend ends in chaos, and that's exactly what happened. Now, bear in mind, when I do my predictions now, it is currently Thursday night. I haven't even listened to the press conferences yet. I'm going to do that tomorrow morning before the practice sessions start. But I'm going into this weekend with very little other than that Charles Leclerc news. I think right off the bat, it would be easy to say that Max is probably going to come out on top with this one. However, I do think that Ferrari will be quicker this time, especially since they generally suck with tire degradation. And I hear the tire deg is bad here, but I don't think it's as bad as it was at Bahrain. So I think they'll actually be able to keep pace there. They're pretty good in pace with a straight line speed. I think that's the case at least, because if you look at Alonso, he was able to follow the Ferraris, but he really struggled to overtake them. He could keep close to them in those corners and stuff, but then when it came to the straights, the Ferraris were kind of just difficult for him to. Well, I said the Ferraris. It was Sainz who was difficult for him to overtake, but he did overtake Sainz in the end anyway. But yeah, that's where I stand around that. So I think Max will come first just because again he's so far ahead. But I think the Ferraris will be closer to Red Bull, meaning that I think that Leclerc will come second. No, wait, I should take that back. I forgot Leclerc's got the penalty. I believe that Sainz will come second, and then we'll have Perez in third, and then Fernando Alonso in fourth, and then in fifth place, I think Leclerc is going to manage to climb all the way up there. I don't think the Mercedes are going to have a good run, or maybe in fifth place would be Stroll and then Leclerc, actually, now that I think of it. Okay, here's my prediction. Max P1, then Sainz P2, then Perez P3, then Alonso P4, Stroll P5, and Charles Leclerc P6. I think Charles Leclerc will get up through the field, but I think the Mercedes are going to be slow. I have a feeling that Alpine might actually qualify ahead of Mercedes, and most of Mercedes' race is going to be fighting with Alfa Romeo most likely. Imagine we might see like Bottas and George battling it out, and Bottas might come out on top, not in a Mercedes. I think that's quite hilarious to think. I also think the Williams might do well. I think we might see another single point from Alex Albon, and I think Logan Sargent will probably come P14th. Like, if I think about it, Williams are quite strong in a straight line, and Jeddah's track is pretty much a straight line with one turn and then another long straight line. So it's well suited for the Williams car. I think McLaren, they might still be bad. I just think that these reliability issues and all that, like they've pretty much thrown away the start of their season. I think they're focusing fully on the parts coming in Azerbaijan, which is still a while away. I don't remember them doing super well last year at the start of the season, especially the hot tracks. Their car's just not good at hot tracks. They seem to do better in the cooler track conditions, like when Lando got his podium last year in Imola. Then again, that was the only podium from a rest team. Now it's going to be odd to see Mercedes even get podiums. We want to see if Mercedes will get podiums. It's just crazy to think. When I think of best of the rest, if we ignore Mercedes, I think that Alpine will be there. I think if Gasly does qualify properly this time, he won't have to get his car all the way up the line. But I'm pretty sure Gasly is going to outdo Ocon in the race. Even if Ocon does park his car properly this week, instead of completely off the grid and getting penalties everywhere, I think Gasly is just better race pace than Ocon. Ocon's got that, he's got that lap time for his qualifying, but Gasly's just a good racer. It's quite insane. So I think we'll be seeing points from both the Alpines, but Gasly especially. I think if I mention now that top six, I think only one of the Mercedes is going to get points. I think we'll have the Mercedes doing really badly, and I think it's going to be Lewis who does really badly. I think Lewis won't get a point, and Russell will get just 1 point at 10th. Maybe Albon will actually get 9th. I don't know. My predictions are a bit all over the place, but I predict that Russell and Albon and the Alpines will get a point. So if we look at it, then the rest is Red Bull, Ferrari, Aston Martin, and that's it. Those are the top three. Then the Alpines, then yeah, that's my points predictions. That I think that the Alpines and Russell and Albon are going to get points. I don't imagine Haas doing very well in this race, just because their car just seems slow. I also don't imagine that Yuki and De Vries are going to do very well. Or maybe De Vries will be better in the street track because he's so used to it from Formula E. I think De Vries will be a lot closer to Yuki this time, but I don't imagine him actually getting those points. But it's going to be a tough one. It's going to be a tough battle for points. But yeah, I definitely think AlphaTauri is going to be the second biggest loser to McLaren. I still think McLaren's just not going to do well. And that's okay. We expect McLaren not to do well until later on in the season. This is a bit of a runaway season for them. We don't really know how Lando's feeling. Everyone's doing these rumors of should Lando quit and should he move on. Same thing with Lewis Hamilton, actually. Lewis Hamilton wants that 8th championship, and Mercedes isn't going to give it to him. So he's probably going to start looking elsewhere if he doesn't get his way, if they don't change their car and start being competitive halfway through the season, or unless they make this drastic change deciding that they're going to bin this year and focus purely on next year and just, I don't really know what to expect with the teams there. I was going to say, I think Lance Stroll would actually be a lot closer to Fernando Alonso this time because he's had more time to rest his hand. It's quite good for him that he didn't have to worry about, a second race back-to-back with Bahrain. Like that week break is very good for him. He really needed that, but I'm sure he'll be fighting very strong. I think that's the thing. I've always just seen Stroll as a paid driver, but the more I think of it, I think he's going to do quite well. I know at the start of the season, my prediction was that Alonso would outqualify Stroll by so much that it wouldn't really matter that, Stroll likes to crash into his teammates. But yeah, Stroll did bump into Alonso in the very first race of the season, so that shows you how wrong my predictions usually are. All in all, there's not much to cover. I mean, this is Saudi Arabia. It's well known for being quite a controversial track in the sense that it's not very safe. It's very high speed with very thick, hard concrete barriers for people to crash in. I mean, we saw that massive crash from Mick Schumacher last year. I think he crashed the year before as well. I can't remember. I know it was Mazepin, I think. I can't remember. But I know there were lots of big crashes there, and it's a crazy track. So I would imagine, yeah, hopefully there's no missiles going off there or anything weird like that. And hopefully we don't have any crazy scenarios where the drivers are just stuck. It's just unlikely that they're going to be stuck in a place where they can't have a voice. And last time I remember, the drivers were basically protesting, and their protests were so sad and so horrible because it sounded like they were going to be stuck at the airport. All in all, this is going to be a short episode from me. I'll have a very long episode on Sunday night, or most likely coming out Monday morning, where we'll do our drive star review, so we can talk about how the drivers do, and maybe just maybe I'll do like a post qualifying podcast. I don't know. It's hard to tell, but we'll just see what happens and how I feel regarding talking and stuff. But this has just been a short episode to get back into your ears. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you can find a way to let me know, please let me know that you have enjoyed. If you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do at youtube.com/Tipsy Pineapple. Like the video, and if you're not following the podcast, please follow it where you can on Spotify or wherever else you might be listening. Thank you so much, guys, and enjoy the race weekend.